Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, and welcome faces back to a second day of PUBG Mobile competitive action. I'm your host, Max, and as always, going to be joined with Imperium to bring you the action you all know and love. And this is it, day 2 of the regional final for the European region, and I can't wait to see and get into these games finally. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I've had a nice, relaxing day. It's a little bit cloudier today in Ireland, so it's not as shiny. I don't have my flip-flops on. I don't have my shorts on, but I tell you what, sure, things are about to get pretty heated up here between these teams as we get into the next set of 6 games today, Max.
Yes, 6 games today. But before we do dive into anything, a little bit more specific about today's games, we do have a little bit of an announcement for all of you people at home. So, of course, if you guys did watch the broadcast yesterday, we had a little bit of some tech issues on our side. So, of course, that means that we're going to try and make up for that. And by making up for that, we mean we're going to be, of course, trying to add up a day tomorrow. Another day of competitive PUBG Mobile action, for the European region. I mean, it makes for more content. It's going to be fun to watch. But so tomorrow, we'll be having another set of 6 games starting at 7 p.m. CEST, or that's going to be 6 p.m. BST for British summertime. So, more action, but of course, it's going to take a little bit of a toll on some of the teams. But still, it's some action coming your way, and I just can't wait to jump into it.
Yeah, it's in the interest of fairness at the end of the day, competitive fairness for these teams. You give them a fairer chance in terms of, because this is a big thing that all these teams are fighting for, right? You're talking about the big prize pool, you're talking about the big money, 15 grand first place, you're talking about that World League spot that is available, and credit where credit is due to the organizers, to everybody in the back end trying to deal with everything. Incredible job being done by all, including feedback from the players. And at the end of the day, like you said, if it gives us 6 more juicy games of European PUBG Mobile competitive action, hey, I'm all for it.
I'm all for it too, man. I just can't wait to dive into the action. 12 more games to come is going to be absolutely epic. But as you just say, it is about competitive fairness and to try and give all these teams just a better chance for them to try and secure their spot and try and put their best performance into these games. So you know what? I feel the teams this might also be their redeeming factor, able to do a little bit of a comeback on 6 more games. Or some teams are doing really good now. They've got to try and remain consistent throughout these 6 extra games. So it will have some different, atmosphere to the games that are going to be coming into, of course, transaction here for all of these squads. We'll have to see how that's going to be paying off. But, 6 more games. I don't know which of the maps that will be played in which order. Of course, we'll still have 50% of our angle, but we'll have a little bit of a shift in that. We'll keep you guys, of course, informed as we do get more information as time goes on.
Yeah, and then the other update with that, because of yesterday, they've also made the decision to actually half the points for the teams yesterday. So you'll see when we do show the overall standings graphic, you will see some teams on let's say 0.5. It's simply because they've decided to half the points from yesterday rather than kind of take away the points from one game, or from, they've decided just half the points in total from yesterday, make it fair, and then add those 6 games on. It's unorthodox, it's a little bit unusual, but the adaptability being shown by teams and the organizers means that we are still getting that high level of gameplay, and at the end of the day, the team that qualifies will be the team that qualifies.
And at the end of the day, that also means that the teams that did do good yesterday still have some residual points from that, so they still get some winnings out of that first day. Of course, if you do not know how the World League does work out, well, how the road to the World League works out, here it is. Of course, we already had 4 slots taken over so far. 1 for EU, 1 for CIS, 1 for Turkey, and 1 for Germany. That means there's 1 more remaining slot that's going to be open for the teams. The first team, non-qualified currently, they will get in a number 1 spot at the end of this regional finals, will be qualified to join up the 4 other teams to go to the World League West.
Yeah, and of course, then you have 5 European teams represented going up against the MENA qualified teams, the America's teams like the NA, the South American teams in the World League West. That is going to be a huge adventure, huge task. You're going to have those shifting change of metas, the team's unpredictability, the research and training that's going to be required in that next level is definitely going to be a huge task for these teams.
I legit just can't wait to see EU and MENA region actually fight against each other. That's going to be such an insane amount of matches coming your way. So definitely you want to look that out when it does get streamed live. And I don't even know when around is going to be. In a few months it'll be here. Don't worry too much about that. It'll come eventually. But there you go. So of course, this is supposed to be the last day. So that means we'll be actually known which team will be qualifying tomorrow night at the end of the 6th game of Monday. But here you go, all the teams. We started off, of course, PMCO was 128 teams. That is huge for this European region. And all that now trickled down to top 16. These are the top 16 teams of Germany, CIS, Turkey, and Europe combined. Well, basically Europe, if you want to keep it, nice and closed up. And that will be putting up to now 5 teams. 5 teams at the very end will be representing this European region on the World League stage.
Huge journey these teams have already undertaken so far, fighting from the 32 teams in their individual region, qualifying through to the semis where we had 24 teams. And of course, the final stages, they qualified from there, maybe secured that World League spot. Now they're in the regional finals, fighting for the prize pool, fighting for that golden spot for the World League. It's the strain, the fortitude, the ability that the teams are showing, and the adaptability at this point is unbelievable. Like, we may critique, we may point out things, we may say, look, this should be done, that should be done, but the amount of respect that I have, and I'm sure both of us have, for these players and for these teams is pretty damn incredible.
Yeah, the amount of respect coming out, like thousands of teams signed up, right, for PMCO, and only 16 teams made it up. These are the top 16 teams. This is a huge achievement on its own. Even if they don't qualify to the next stage, they can be extremely proud of themselves. But of course, all these teams are fighting for the total prize pool of 2020 of $5 million. We keep saying it every single broadcast, but still, it doesn't lose its steam.
Nope.
It's still absolutely insane to see the biggest prize pool yet in mobile gaming history.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty damn incredible. You do have, as you see in front of you, the spring split, PMCO, regional finals, World League, and then you have, of course, the fall split. Same thing, PMCO, then the Pro League and the regional finals, as well as the World League, culminating at the end of the year in a World Championship. And that's what these teams want. They really they want to be the best. Yeah, of course, step by step along the way, it's one goal after another goal, but they want to reach the top. They want to be regarded as one of the literal best teams, if not the best team in the whole world. They want to conquer the reigning champions BTR. They want to topple every single team around them. But before they do that, they got to get through the regional finals.
I think mostly they also want to topple this sexy prize pool, which is $50,000 for number 1 position. That is definitely some hefty amount of money going straight into your pocket if you would like to get that number 1 position, of course. And that is also valid for the teams already qualified, so that doesn't really matter if you're qualified or not. But this $15,000 is definitely going to be forcing these teams to the full of their extent in these games. I just can't wait to see which team will be able to take it up.
And then kind of scaling back, that means, even if you're a team that mathematically you don't have a chance of qualifying for the World League or getting into that spot, at least you know that you have that fight for 2 to 3 extra positional places where you can grab a couple of extra grand in your back pockets as a team. And of course, every team is fighting for pride and glory, right? They want to, even if they've already qualified, you still want to finish on top of the mountain. You still want to finish really on top and say, look, yeah, we didn't just qualify from our region, we qualified in the whole of Europe. We dominated.
Just also keeping a little bit of information, we are currently having also a test match running in the background just to make sure that we are nice and smooth for the broadcast today. So we might have a little bit of a delay on our side. We know that means you can see and hear our dad jokes just a little bit longer. So I think that everyone will enjoy that. At least I do hope so. Please, guys, tell us in the chat that you appreciate it. But of course, here's the point system. And if you are not too familiar with how PMCO and how all of this, PUBG Mobile esports scene does run, Chicken Dinner 20 points trickles down from 11th position, and below is going to be only 1 point. And boy, like we saw it yesterday, right? The kills are absolutely insane. Like double digits, left, right, and center every single game almost.
Yeah, definitely having that impactfully aggressive play and being able to frag out where it matters will always make a difference in the overall standings. Because at the end of the day, 2 teams are on the same points. The team that lies on top in the standings will be the team that has the most amount of points. That's it. It's as simple as that. So yeah, of course, your play style matters as a team. So if you're a more passive team, cool, play to your strengths, play to your play style, but just be aware that comes with risks, right? That comes with the risk of, at the end of the day, maybe not qualifying for the World League just because you weren't that aggressive enough when it counted.
I mean, Team 5 for me is a prime example of how you want to play that passive playstyle. I'm putting like quotes here, like that passive playstyle. They're forced into a corner, they take fights, and they just shredded. They got like 13 kills on that very first game, and they were on the edge of circle, getting denied every single repositioning. And I got to say, Team 5, in terms of like passive teams, I got to say they're one of the best passive teams because when they're pushing a corner, they play extremely well in their aggressive playstyle. But here are all your teams, 16 teams once again participating in this European regional finals. It's 5 for CIS, 3 for Germany, 4 for Europe, and also 4 for Turkey, with every single region having their own qualified team ready for the World League stage.
Yeah, so looking over, you have the Team Unique from CIS, formerly GQ. They are directly qualified then from the German region. Number 1 have directly qualified for the World League. From the EU region, it is UDR Killers who directly qualified. And from the Turkish region, it is the one and only footballers who've already directly qualified for the World League.
We already talked about footballers, especially on that last Erangel yesterday. Like the fight that it took on UDR Killers, I was not really expecting it. And it was so big brain, I didn't understand it right away. And I think we both didn't like, we were like, what is happening right now?
Hey, I
and the way they're
understood
repositioned.
I understood it. I hold my hand to it. I understood it. I got it. But it was a little bit unorthodox for the EU region, right, Max? It was not what we expected from the EU region.
Like, definitely, like they were looking so far ahead, and I even did that on the Sanhok game at the very end, right? Like they were just every single time saying, okay, what can I do with this position? What can I also use it for? And the fact that they're doing that every single time, they actually allowed them to get like consistent results, especially on those 2 last games of the day. But here you have it, all your squad rosters are going to be slowly shown up on your screen. You can also see, like, if you're looking for your favorite content creator, your favorite player, see if the teams did change. You're going to be seeing them very, very soon on your screens. And look, for example, Aegon, like joining Goskiller, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but that was a big addition in terms of like aggressive playstyle. I think is what Goskiller maybe lacked a little bit. Like they had really good macro, but Aegon being added up to their roster is definitely helping up their micro.
Yeah, having Aegon in the team adds that element of danger and fear, in my opinion, for the other teams. He can be a bit of a loose cannon. Sometimes I feel he sometimes puts himself in a position where he can get caught out. But when you're talking about as a team having to put yourself in a better fragging potential position, Aegon 100% adds that to Goskiller when you already have a fantastic, the self-proclaimed greatest IGL of Whitey in Goskiller.
There you go, your EU teams, Red Reserve, Goskiller, we just talked about, The Real Deal, and UDR Killers. UDR Killers, you know, they struggle a little bit at the start, but they're going to stuff at least one chicken dinner that was on the map of the Kendi, was that city finish. That was one of the most insane and like, you know, weird finishes I think we had the chance of seeing yesterday. I think nobody really expected that kind of shifts of the circle. So if you do want to check some insane action on the Kendi, go back to watch the VOD of yesterday after the broadcast, of course. Don't leave. You'll do that later. But that game was mental.
Yeah, no, it was pretty incredible. I think all games were really interesting yesterday. As you look at the Turkish teams, like football is really showing up. Heroes X also side that, you know, when you took the individual regions and meshed them together and put the overall standings, Heroes X were the team that would have, let's say, secured a spot, putting all the regions together from their individual performances, and they are showing it right now in the overall standings, being that team who has secured a spot. But the games yesterday, between the circle shifts, between the you know, unorthodox delay, it was definitely a weird day, and I hope we have kind of a little bit more normal circles, you know, more standard kind of, you know, games that the teams can show their talents in.
Yeah, we had just a little bit of a weird environment yesterday. Even for us, we're like, okay, this is definitely a little bit weird, but it is fine, and it was definitely really fun to watch and see these players and teams unfold on these games. Of course, you know, for the schedule of the second day, a little bit different than yesterday, just switching up a little bit. Of course, 50% of your games will be played on the good old fancy OG map of Erangel, and then one on Sanhok, one on Vikendi, and one on Miramar in that order. But kicking off right away with Sanhok, that's a really good way to get yourself just in a competitive, like, you know, mindset, just like, okay, I've got to smash some peeps right now on phase 1.
It's kind of like when you need to work and you wake up like 10 minutes before you have to work, and you're just kind of like, jump, you know, or in the words of Filter Franco, let's jump on into it. You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of unpredictable, third-party heavy, snake heavy map, fast-paced action from Sanhok. Like, well, yesterday's game, in the first 8 minutes, we lost 3 teams, Max. 3 teams in the first 8 minutes of Sanhok. Like, we don't really see that often, even in competitive PUBG Mobile on Sanhok.
Like even the finish that we had at one point, I think it was the last. It was actually the last Erangel game. Like phase 4/5, no more compounds. Like none. So early on in the game, it was not expected. And when unfortunately we only had the circle with 0 compounds, it was all on the slope with like such a small amount of trees. We lost almost every single team down to like at the very end, like 4 teams, one up north, down south, over on the east and over on the west, and they only had 4 teams remaining. But here are your overall standings for this second day so far. And because we did cut the points by half, that means you got half points now, which it would be very interesting if you win from half a point. That would be very unusual.
It is, like I said, it's unusual, it's unorthodox, but it still makes sense, and it still doesn't take away from their overall kind of average points per game. Footballers have an average of 13.5 points per game, even though, the points are in half. That's the way I've calculated on my end. And looking in the overall standings, the teams that really are struggling right now is number 1, WSK, The Real Deal, UDR Killers, and Team 5. And then in saying that, compared to the MENA region, I have been a little bit disappointed by a lack of real domination from 1 or 2 of these teams. We've had teams shine bright lights. We've had teams get dominating performances, but they haven't really followed it up with the consistency or with that second dominating performance.
We even talked about this before the broadcast, right? And even in the MENA region, we saw that every single team that had minimum 1 chicken dinner, all the teams that had chicken dinners, they were on the tippity top of the mountain, right, of the overall standings. Here, you got Red Reserve, you got Dream Eaters, you got NGG. They are all below, which shows a really big lack, unfortunately, of consistency for most of these squads. So I'm hoping the consistency is what we're going to be seeing. Of course, we did have a few technical issues yesterday, so we'll have to see if today these teams can try and make up for that a little bit more, get those consistent results, and try and climb their way back up in the overall rankings.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's still anybody's game. It's still anybody's spot. It's still anybody's prize pool from that point of view. Unicorns of Love, a team that showed angles and slight points of brilliance and plays that I was like, yes, this is Unicorns of Love. Like, particularly that last game in Sanhok, you saw Perks getting that 1v2 against number 1. He just... and getting 7 kills in that game. That's the Unicorns of Love I want to see today. That's the level of aggressiveness plus results I know that they can achieve, because in the regional games for the group stage and the semi-finals, when it came to the finals, after day 1, Unicorns of Love were on top. They were in first place. They were that close to securing that World League spot. Just day 2, number 1 overtook them.
I 100% agree on you on for Unicorns of Love specifically. That's such a nice few amount of sparks of just pure and raw genius. Especially, you're thinking of Sanhok. I'm thinking, especially for their macro mechanics of Vikendi, right? Vikendi, they went for the rotation up north. The rotation that should have technically been done by Red Reserve a lot earlier. But Red Reserve, we talked about this many times, way too slow on the rotations. And Unicorns of Love, just we're going to wrap up north next to Cosmodrome and just sit down south. That was absolutely awesome. That was such a nice entry point. But after that, they just threw it out the window, rotated center, and you rotate center too late on Vikendi, all the compounds are occupied, you just get destroyed. They do good calls and they do bad calls. They need to consistently try and do good calls, or not calls that are going to make your team die instantly. You got to find that little bit of an average. Yeah,
it is definitely a balance, and there is that high level of unpredictability. I suppose that's where, and me, Max, I hate scouts. I'm okay, not that I hate, but I really disagree with having somebody scout for your team. But if you as a team are not confident of your knowledge of the teams around you in this kind of situation, really send one person forward, scout, get information. If he goes down, he goes down. You're still as a 3-man team, but you have that information, that knowledge that you can react to much better on the next 1 to 2 circle shifts.
I do understand the fact you don't like scouts too much. I'm actually not a fan of scouts, but I understand them as long as they execute it properly. We see so many people sometimes on Miramar, they're scouting and they send the scout just way too far, and then he gets just sniped and he's dead, because unfortunately you're not going to send someone to just pull off a res. So I understand why people go for it, but it's just you need to be respectful of teams around you, because if you have a scout, that means you don't know what is around you. So don't try and anticipate too much where teams could be located, because that might be your death. The reason why you die in your games, if you do scout too far, you're just a little bit too unaware of what's around you. Yeah,
exactly. And that's where, and it's not to necessarily kind of pick on them, but to use them as an example. Red Reserve, it was and it's like this chain effect, right? If you leave it too late to rotate, not only are you making it harder to enter into the circle, but you're also denying yourself information. So even going into the center of the circle early on and rotating early, look, you still might not get a good result. Going into the circle early, that's never a guarantee. But the way I look at it is that you are putting that result in far more of your control than being dictated by other teams' positions by rotating late. And I think that's kind of the main draw that I would put out to teams, that if you hesitating on rotating early, there's technically as much to lose, but it's your kind of own fault rather than go, oh, well, we didn't know this team was there. Well, you didn't rotate early enough to know that team was there. So, come on, react better.
Of course, being able to respond and just rotate fastest as possible gets a lot more intel, and information is the reason why most of these teams are able to win. So hopefully some of these squads were able to learn from what happened yesterday, maybe even rewatch the VODs and say okay, we messed up here, try and fix that. Of course, that is what we're going to be hoping for most of these teams and players as we go into this. But normally this very first game on Sandhawk should be happening very, very shortly, so please do stick around while we do just go through a little bit of the action of what happened yesterday. And talking about what happened yesterday, Imperium, I'm going to ask you a question. Out of the teams that are currently qualified, okay, I'm going to talk specifically about the teams that are not qualified. Is there one you're like, man, this team, you know what, they deserve to be qualified?
Wasn't the teams that aren't qualified?
The teams that aren't qualified that can get that one spot available for the World League stage. Is there one you say damn, those guys yesterday, they were spot on, they were really good?
Nomad Gaming.
Okay.
Even though the obvious choice is Heroes X, I think Nomad Gaming played more intelligently, and they rotated and reacted so well to those circle shifts that were hard. Those were hard circle shifts. So I kind of think, okay, let's try and take a more normal circle shift. Let's try and take kind of, not so crazy circle shifts. Could Nomad Gaming could they have performed better from a fragging point of view? So that's why I say right now, I'm going to say Nomad Gaming.
Okay.
What about you?
It actually annoys me a little bit because I was going to say Nomad Gaming too. I was going to say Nomad Gaming too. Because
we can agree, man. We can agree.
Yeah, we can agree. That's true. Wow, I didn't even think about that. We can agree, Imperium?
We can be friends, man.
I didn't think. Wow. Okay. My perspective. Oh my god. My mind is blown.
In the words of Freddie Mercury, friends will be friends. If you need some love, some care, and attention, Max, we can be friends.
You know what song that is? Okay, Boomer.
Yeah, I know. I'm old. You're young. It's cool. It's cool.
But I agree with Nomad Gaming, 100%. For me, the top three teams, I don't know if you're going to agree with me on that one, actually, but the top three teams in terms of rotations and how they try and find entry points in these games: Footballist, Team Unique, Nomad Gaming. 100% of the time. Goskiller showed some really good intentions, but consistency is where they're lacking a little bit on those rotations, I do think. But Footballist, Team Unique, and Nomad Gaming, their rotations are always so good because they always find the better entry point. Especially Footballist, taking the 5 versus UDR killers, shifting over to the west, and not having teams backstabbing you. I thought they were not going to do that. I thought they were going to rotate up north and go down because it was on a slope. But the fact that they tried to read that so early on, I got to say I'm a big fan of how Footballist does their rotations. But from the teams not qualified, I would also agree with you, of course, with Nomad Gaming.
And what's your thought process of the teams who have already qualified and how they've performed so far? What's your opinion of that?
Wait, can you repeat? I didn't.
Yeah, no. What's your opinion of the teams who've already qualified and how they're playing so far? Even though they've already secured a world spot, what's your thought process on that? When you look at UDR killers, yeah, okay, they have secured a World League. They secured a chicken dinner yesterday, but right now they're lying in 13th place overall. What's your thought process in that?
UDR killers, they, after this might be a little bit very harsh and critical on them, is they almost barely made it through to getting qualified for this stage, right? They were a team that were very, for my side of things, they were very inconsistent, and it's just on the finals day they put the last few efforts and allow them to just get qualified from that.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it was great for them, but now you got to be able to back it up with like consistent results. Sure, you got a chicken dinner on the messy game that was Vikendi, and like even we said, right, we don't know who's going to take that game. Is it going to be NGG, Footballist, Team Unique? We had no clue. Is it going to be Conan the Power? No idea. So they took the game that was a little bit messy on the ending, but what I think they need to work on specifically is team coordination. A little bit like number one, right? Like they need to work on that, and also when they held a compound or like they decide to go for a compound breach, is like be a lot more, like communicate just a lot more. That's something that I feel is lacking a lot.
Yeah, sir. Like my opinion is a little bit kind of not a little bit off the spectrum, because kind of I've talked to people, and you know, while playing the game, I've talked to kind of other pros, and I've just generally talked to people because that's what I do. Yeah, exactly. And some people have kind of maybe said that, look, oh yeah, like, you know, a team like UDR Killers, oh yeah, you know, it should, you know, they aren't going to do that well in the World League, or they, you know, they aren't going to blah blah. The way I look at it is that it doesn't matter how they do in the regional finals. At the end of the day, the way I look at it is that they didn't choke in their regional games. They didn't choke when it mattered. They secured that spot. So when they get to the World League, I actually have no doubt, despite this result, that any of the teams that already secured a spot, and the team that does secure the spot at the end of the day, they will have deserved to qualify for the World League. And there's every chance that they will do absolutely fantastically and pull out the performances in the World League. So it's just that my opinion is that it doesn't matter how the teams who've already secured a spot and how they do in the regional finals. At the end of the day, they've already qualified. They've done what they needed to do. They got the job done when it mattered.
There's always a little way to know you do a little bit of a better performance. Now, I'm pretty harsh on the like consistency. I think that compared to what we saw in the MENA region, a few teams here do struggle a little bit to get those consistent results actually rolling in. So hoping this will be the day where we can finally see those really good games from most of these squads, because they're going to need it. Like you see some teams that have chicken dinners once again, like just floating around in the middle of the overall standings, something you shouldn't really see all that much happen. But we'll be seeing, of course, as we are getting the lobby ready for this game. So we won't see our Thelsies for too long. Don't worry, we'll be out very soon. But of course, it's going to be on Sandhawk. And like we saw already one Sandhawk game yesterday, right? And that was won by Footballist, because like once again, just reading ahead the map, the circle shifts so many times in a row, and also going for the compound I love, which is the cross river section. Okay, always go for that. Do you think there's maybe another team like here, other than Footballist, you know, has a really big chance of taking Sandhawk, despite not taking a chicken dinner yesterday?
Unique.
I was going to say Unique too. God, we're playing so much.
Unique.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? Who knew? Who knew? Well, it's a miracle, Batman. And on a side note, talking about Unique. You know, while we're waiting for this game one to start, let's give a huge shout out to the lightning bolt himself, the incredibly talented, one of the best players in the EU PMCO Lightning. It's his birthday today, so a huge happy birthday to him today. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what age he is. I just got told that it was his birthday. Thought we'd give a fantastic shout out on broadcast in front of the thousands of people watching.
There you go. Well, happy birthday, Lightning, guys. Also spam in the chat. Let's go. Of course, he's been doing also like great moves yesterday. Like he was doing absolutely stellar performances, hoping that they can get a chicken dinner. That would be the best way to, you know, have a great birthday day. So let's hope the birthday boy and his team can get themselves one dub up their sleeve today, or even maybe all of them. You never know. I think I've never seen that in actually no competitive setting of PUBG Mobile or even PUBG PC. Like on one setting, on one day, one team taking every single chicken dinner.
Yeah, like the most we kind of see is 2, maybe 3. You know, when we look at, it can happen. It's just rare, and the reason why it's rare, because at the end of the day, the difference in actual competitive talent of the players is very little. Yeah, okay, you have some teams and some players who are more dangerous from a pure fragging potential. You have some players who are maybe a little bit more clever in terms of how they rotate and how they use the area around them to protect themselves. But at the end of the day, the only difference between these teams, in my eyes, is the mentality, is the ability to, on the moment, in the split second, to read and react and play the best in the moment. That's what, in my opinion, is the only difference between these 16 teams.
Okay, yeah, like it does make a lot of sense because like the more the level of gameplay is like even throughout an entire scene, like of course it doesn't mean that there's always going to be the same team taking wins. If it was only one team taking every single win, it would mean there's like, well, they're a lot better than all the other squads. They're like there's a big difference in overall skill, so it does make a little bit of sense. I just thought it would be a little bit cool. I don't know, it just came past my mind there. But we are now, I see on my screen like sorry loading into the lobby, so Sanhok coming very very soon. Stick around, guys.
Yeah, like, and if you're gonna play devil's advocate with that, in fairness, Max, like when you look at the Turkish region. Futbolist and Heroes X, they both got 3 chicken dinners in their regional games in the final stages, whereas T5 and WSK, they didn't get any chicken dinners yet. They still qualified. So it could happen. There is a chance. I just don't think it's going to happen in the next 12 games.
I think that if it did happen, you know, like I think our mind would explode. Like we would just like have dead throats at the very end of the broadcast. So maybe not a good thing for us as casters, but we'll be having the players then into this game. Finally, Imperium Sanhok, our second game of Sanhok for these European regional finals, going to be coming straight up. A good way, once again, to get you in a competitive mindset. Just, you have to be ready from phase 1 because, as you said yesterday, like 3 to 4 teams died on like the first phase, which is, no, even for Sanhok, that's a lot. That's way too much. Oh my God.
Nah, it's... Oh boy. I'm ready, right, Max? I'm ready. Yesterday was yesterday. Today is today. 6 games, 6 opportunities. Now is the time for these teams to absolutely show up. Forget about what's happened. Just come into this Sanhok game. Look, start popping some heads off.
I can just see a graphic in my head, like just you on the right side of like a big graphic and like, yesterday is yesterday. Today is today. The Sage Imperium 2020.
I could be like, you know, just put like one of those like, you know, motivational, standard motivational quotes.
Just like your image of you like looking in the distance.
I can just be like, choking my beard, you know, yesterday's yesterday. Today's today with the pipe in my hand and one of those monocle glasses, you know. But anyway, I feel like we're getting off topic, but you know.
Oh my God. I would even say tomorrow's tomorrow. Okay, anyway, Sanhok, let's go. Let's
come on. Now, Max, you're going too far. You're going too far, Max.
I mean, yeah,
come
it's
on.
the future. That's why I'm going too far. Anyways, Sanhok, finally, let's jump straight into the action. First game of the day, 6 games total, and we'll be having 1 Sanhok game only. So this is time for these teams to make it count. Futbolist took the chicken dinner yesterday on this map. Can they remain the kings of the jungle? We'll have to wait and see.
Welcome to the jungle. We've got fun and games. We got everything you want, but you know your name. In the words of Guns N' Roses, the playing path going from the west to the east, pretty central, nothing crazy. But Max, we all know Sanhok 4x4. Any team can pretty much get to where the hell they want to.
Ooh, I'm seeing 1 rotation that's pretty interesting to me. That is Team Unique, not going for Summit, where they usually like to drop in the south. That means the Red Reserve will be uncontested on the early phase 1 drop, so that's going to be a great thing for them because they had a little bit of an issue with, like, you know, some contestment points with Team Unique. Of course, Heroes X going over to Camp Bravo / Mongnay on the eastern coastline. I love it because it's so passive. It's very undermined as a location, and I love it. But this is a circle that we very rarely see. This is the first, I think, that we have a circle down south on the eastern side. Huh.
Doc's finished, baby. Doc's finished. Now, look, in fairness, I want to see normal circles, right? So if anything, I want to see that circle shift up really north, head towards around the ban area, maybe an element of boot camp into play, a bit of quarry. So I don't want it to shift down south, but it is definitely an unusual one. It is going to mean that we're going to see a couple of harsh rotations for the teams up on the northwest island.
Yeah, maybe a few hard rotations will be coming out. We'll have to see. Of course, a lot of things. Wait, just a second. There we go. Got the screen already nice and looking good on our side of things. Okay. Now, a few teams that I do like their rotation, of course, like, you know, you got Unicorns of Love, but last time they got a little bit of an issue because I rotated down south of boot camp early on. They got really in a tricky spot, so hopefully they will be a little bit careful about that rotation, hoping the number 1 will not be around there. But number 1, very, very split around the map right now. They got 3 members towards Camp Alpha and 1 just towards the Cross River section. So hopefully they'll be able to get back soon enough towards each other. But Nomad Gaming also in the south, they're going to have a really easy looting stage towards Camp Charlie because that is an area that's almost never contested.
And if I was Nomad Gaming, and now look, this is just me as a player that really likes to kind of rotate. I would actually go into the water and actually go from docks up into the circle that way, because it's quite high ground, Max, so you can scout quite heavily. Maybe send 2 in that location and send 2 up on the bridge, and then meet up in around the cave area. That would be a nice rotation if it's done early enough. Another team that has a really nice spot is the Real Deal. They're right in Quarry, pretty much the center of the circle. It is quite high ground, and you can possibly look to catch out a couple of teams rotating through.
Like, Quarry can be a little bit of an issue in terms of like disengaging for Quarry, because you're very predictable on where you're going to be coming out from. So hopefully they're just not going to go in Quarry. Like, who would in their right mind go into Quarry? Absolutely nobody most of the time. If you can just hold on to the outskirts of Quarry, would be a great position to hold on to. One team just going to have a really easy rotation in this circle. Of course, that's going to be Heroes X towards Mong Nai up in the north, towards Camp Bravo. They're going to be trying to take that position to control, rotate down a little bit more on the eastern side. Like, they have such a good potential on this early stage, but now all the teams are going to have to rotate over from the west over to the east. Some fights might be actually happening, and especially thinking of Team Unique, I'm thinking, where are they going to try and get this entry point from? There's so many options, right?
If I'm looking at Unique, they'll just basically frag their way through into the circle.
Yeah, you know what? Okay.
You know, we saw what they did and how they punished teams individually in the Sanhok game yesterday. And if they have to do that aggressively, something like footballers, they will just basically take people out as much as they can. And now, as you see, Perks from the Unicorns of Love knocked down. Dream Eaters ready to kick off their day 2 of the regional finals. They are currently in, unfortunately, in the bottom of the barrel, near towards the bottom of the standings. They want to get a good result.
You know what? Dream Eaters, they're slowly going to go full of an engage, chucking some utility, chucking some nades also. But Unicorns of Love, they don't do the usual rotation down south. They went a little bit more over to the western side. This nade could be huge for Thanos. Will it connect? Might get at least a little bit of job done. Yes, it does connect for Thanos. Will they commit? Will they go for the full out engage in war? That's another nade for Hiran, but it's actually going to be exploding on his ally. That is definitely not what we were expecting on these kind of moves, and now he's going to be engaging and allowing Dream Eaters to engage, because they got the nade frag earlier. They saw in the kill feed who it is they knocked down. So here it is. They're just going to shut down every single member of Unicorns of Love, even only Hiran alone. And Hiran might be the next one down, and if that is the case, that's going to be Unicorns of Love out. And that will be the case. They take 16th position. And Hiran, what the hell happened with that nade?
I don't know what happened indeed, but now, as you see, Salak Baby, one team down in the first 5 minutes. Team of 5 getting close to 1-2-1-8. Unicorns of Love. Oof, feels a bad man indeed. Currently in 10th place in the overall standings. That will not bear good for them in the overall standings after this game. They'll want to refresh themselves and pick up the pieces for the next game in Erangel.
Plus 1-2-1-8. Slowly going to try and potentially, I would say, retreat if you can. Like Team 5, they got the high ground. They got a nice little bit of a spread. But do Team 5 have the information as of yet? That is something that I do think is the case. You know, you see that I said that is definitely looking in the direction of 1-2-1-8. And if they can try and retreat back, that'll be also good too. I think this is not a fight that's going to help out any of these two squads. And 1-2-1-8, well, they're going to really win out of it. Like, they got to push onto a mountain, and also there's a compound up there. Not going to make things really easy for them.
No, it's not indeed. But right now, none of these teams really have to move, right? They're pretty well inside the circle. So it's a matter of just trying to maybe pop a couple of shots off, get a knock or two, push the opposing team back and create that space, depending on where phase 2 does shift.
Of course, now most of the teams are going to be in circle. Team Unique still doing their rotation. No red reserve, at least during the phase 1. They're not going to tank any blue, so they do go for the rotation towards Bantai. Up North, WSK and Foot Bliss are going to go for similar rotation. But really, this first phase circle, because they don't have too much water involved in it, it shouldn't really lose too many teams. At least not like yesterday, like losing 3-4 teams like on the first phase. This should really not be the case around this one, because there's so much room and compounds for these teams to share between each another. In the 1-2-1-8, you said that these teams don't really have to move. I do agree with that. It's just that 1-2-1-8, they sent members a little bit too far out, and that means that them being able to rotate back to their compound, for at least Bandita specifically, is going to be a little bit harsh if he doesn't rotate without any utility.
It's going to be pretty good for the Real Deal to hold on to this position right now. I like the fact that they did send Buju down a little bit further to scout out a bit. That's the right kind of scouting. I think you'd agree, Maxman. Go a little bit more forward, get information, try to get intel, and then join back up with his team.
It's even more important to stay close to your team, especially when you're scouting on a map such as Sandhog Clay. Just go a little bit too far, and there you are a goner. NGG, it's a little bit, spread a little bit thinly, slowly making their way towards the real deal. Daddy's looking in their global facility, hoping that Forever will not get scouted out. But I think that Daddy's got the information was that third-person perspective can through the window. I hope that they're not going to decide to push uphill there, because that is going to be really risky. But he's going for it. NGG, this could be going so bad because they got Daddy and Hackshot that were looking over there. They do not have the information. Daddy has the intel now, 100%. There's no way. Okay.
Forever. Gonna look to throw a grenade. Gets closer to Daddy, being a little bit careful. Now, I have a little bit of inside information. I don't know how true this is, Max. Apparently Forever from NGG is actually Reeves. That's the inside information. I don't know how true it is. I forgot to get it confirmed, but I got told it. It was guaranteed to me. So, think of that what you will.
Have to see how he plays. I mean, definitely interesting to see if that will be the case. Reeves, that didn't unfortunately make it through with his squad. Some roster changes and IGN changes can happen, but we'll have to see if that is the case. We'll try and get the information confirmed later on down the line for all of you beautiful people at home. But now I would say, NGG, you got a compound behind you. All right, there's no main reason to put yourself in such a precarious situation. Just go to the compound that's behind you and potentially take a battle with Nox if you really want to get the fight. But otherwise, right now, it's not really worth it.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? When you take the element of what footballers did to UDR killers in a wrangle, I fear that by not engaging, you're allowing too many teams to get around you. And when Sanhok is so third-party prevalent, NGD are going, yeah, we don't have to engage. We're fine. We're safe. We're inside the circle. Boom. They get popped off by Nomad Gaming. Boom. They get engaged on by Heroes X. Next thing you know, they're out. That's something these teams really have to think about.
I think, knowing that you don't know where the next space circle is going to take you, just take your time and really take the fight if you do really have the intention of taking it. It is going to be necessary, or it's going to be useful to you, which as of right now is not really going to be the case. And they got a compound right behind them. We'll be seeing, of course, the org taken over by Keys of Team 5. We'll have to see if that will be enough for them to get a few extra frags like they did yesterday. They were the biggest surprise, at least for me personally yesterday. They were the biggest surprise in these games. But Circle Shift, going to be a pretty good circle for most of these squads. WSK, Foot Billis, Team Unique, and Red Reserve going to have to move in a little bit. But this is a great circle. And you were asking for a pretty normal circle, right?
Yeah.
Despite going over all to the east, this is really good for most of these squads.
I like it. Shifted more up north rather than down south. Less water in play. Less kind of, craziness in my eyes. And plus, with most of the teams already in circle, we're just going to see slightly more passive Sanhok play. Of course, that will mean that as you get through the circles, we will inevitably see that high-octane action. But for now, I like it. Team that I'm pretty happy with is Red Reserve. They definitely rotated a lot earlier. They're close to the circle. They're actually making that rotation that I recommended for Nomad to do, which is basically cross the water down the south side rather than go across the bridge. It is safer, and you could actually look to potentially catch out Nomad Gaming from that position.
But if Nomad Gaming see them on the backside, they have no easy way of escaping unless they have to go back into the water, right? So I think that by doing that without information, they could somewhat get cornered. It really depends if they're able to pull off a really good surprise factor upon Nomad Gaming, or if also Nomad Gaming disengage or commit to the fight on UDR. Oh, they're going to be Louvre in just now. They're just going to be cruising through, which is opening a lot more room potentially on the backside for Red Reserve to take control of that area.
Yeah, Nicola, kind of being the scout for his side, to be honest. And then, Nomad are split up, but they're thinking a little bit more for the late game. They have the high ground protection, but Sandro and the rest of UDR killers do have the compound now. Max, I want to point out the team. You talk about interesting rotations. We are seeing a boat rotation, if I'm not mistaken, from Unique down the south. We don't see it just right, but they are doing that. And of course, with Red Reserve having more space, they can look to potentially, you see them on the high ground, maybe punish Nomad Gaming.
You can enter even potentially through Dots, Kampong, or Lakawi on the eastern coastline. I think that would be a nice, safe entry point. Just go very wide. Those are pretty risky if teams have information on you, but because there are no teams currently on the coastline almost, except for Red Reserve down on the south, they should have one of the easiest entry points on this game, and they can easily keep on shifting over on the east. It is tricky, and we talked about boats so many times, and I'm happy that the teams are finally using the boats to rotate through. I think this is our very first boat rotation actually in these regional finals.
Especially in Sandhog, I absolutely love it. But this is a replay of the engagement onto Unicorns of Love. Thanos with a great initial grenade was able to knock down Perks, and then it was just business as usual as Thanos came in and got the job done on the Hidan.
Business as usual. I mean, Hidan, just naded 2 of his mates. I don't think that's usual business, but
no, business as usual for Thanos.
Oh, for Thanos, yeah, that's for sure. I mean, like the great thing, right? So the fight when they engaged it, Dream Eaters got the first initial knockdown because of Thanos was that nade, and they saw the kill feed. Okay, that is Unicorns of Love, and then they saw a self nade of Unicorns of Love. That they're like, hey, that's the team we're engaging on. How well, we're just going to commit. I mean, hell yeah, it's a free fight. They go for it. They lose no members. They get 4 easy points. I mean, why wouldn't you at that stage? Dream Eaters picking good fights and understanding their macros.
Now, as you see, the blue zone is starting to close in. Red Reserve have actually made a safer rotation and gone more towards the southeast and entering into the circle via docks. That is good. I like that. They're not being too careless. They're being quite careful, and they haven't left it too late. Unique are now coming in from the far east through Kampong, yet they hit the circle. But hey, the majority of the teams are in the circle. We are seeing that passive play, and the rest as Phase 3 is about to show up.
This is way more of a normal game on Sandhog that we were expecting. This is what we were hoping to see yesterday, but yesterday it got a little bit hectic, a little bit too quickly on most of these squads, but we'll be seeing where is the circle going to go. Will it be a hard shift? Actually, we're going to maybe have a Swamp/Quarry finish on this one.
I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. I would like to have seen a bit more boot camp and play, right? But Quarry, I expected. That's why I mentioned initially the real deal, but they rotated a bit more south. But now Kunina Power and Go Skilla on the 2 sides of Quarry, both high ground, both able to punish teams around them. Really nice prime locations for those 2 teams.
We're going to see the boat rotation of Team Unique slowly arriving. WSK, they want to stop that from happening. They don't want to get back to later on. We're going to go over to the other fight. There's going to be 1218 and Footballist. Footballist slowly making their way over to the compound. Seems like 1218 got the intel a little bit too late. And that allows Footballist to just come on, knocking on the door of 1218. 1218, they lose 1. And they get the knockdown on Roge, not quite able to get it at the end, but here it is, they get it now, so 2v3. But for this, will they pull off a res before committing? And if they do that, they might give enough time to 1218 to pull off a res of their own, but here it is, Lutz with the Uzi. He's going to go absolutely ham on this one, knocking on the door of 1218. They explode the door, they get information on the backside, but unfortunately doesn't see it as he gets backstabbed. Now Kazov Nivora is going to do his very best to try and shut down that engagement of Footballist.
It's all coming down to Zakavor. He's going to try and get the job done. He's the only one that really has full health. Talika gets knocked down. Now it's 1 against 3. Salke goes around, and that's it. 1218. Get eliminated. Footballist, keep on going, baby.
Footballist able to make it closely over to the compound, and I gotta say the defense set up by 1218, the intention was there. It's just unfortunately the shots were just bad on the side of Footballist in that specific fight. So I gotta say Footballist really good one. I'm surprised they didn't lose that one member that pushed out of the building and actually got backstabbed, but he's actually able to crawl back in.
Yeah, look, I think actually what lost it for 1218 was the position of Roge. I feel like he just got a little bit too out of position on the side flank, and he got knocked down, and that was really a lot of damage for 1218. And now, as we see, players that are alive, WSK have 2 players left, UDR have 3, whereas every single other team do have full squads up. Still 53 players and 14 teams max in Phase 3.
A lot of players and teams still remaining on a Sandhog game. What is going on? Now YT, the IGL Goskiller got knocked out. Savage X going to try and go for the res. Got to be a little bit careful with the dance between bullets. Takes no damage right there almost.
Aga needs to be from the side. Aga needs to be flanking from the side. It's just not enough, Max. It's just not enough.
Yeah, they tried to put some suppressing fire to stop Team 5 from getting the flush, but unfortunately it was just a little bit too much. I'm surprised they didn't go for the utility because they had some smokes. They just showed it. It was just a little bit of maybe miscommunication on their side. But at least because it is YT, he's the IGL, he will still be able to pull off his weight in this game.
Yeah, hopefully the likes of Albi, Algan, and Savage X will be able to drive one forward. They'll just back off a little bit. They are still pretty well inside the center of the circle, Max, so it's not too bad. But in that compound, it's down in a dip. You don't get much information around you. The only thing they have right now in their information tracks is the fact that Team 5 are around them. Other than that, I could fear for their position if they stay in that compound.
Going to be slowly seeing some stuff happen around this game. Football is slowly getting closer to Dream Eaters. but it's going to have to pull off a res. It is still early days, so hopefully the blue zone will not be ticking down any members knocked in the blue.
Boy.
But that circle, that is a harsh boy circle shift, I gotta say. Okay.
That's definitely a harsh shift indeed, but now as the teams up north, dream eaters of football, as they have a long way to the top if they want to rock and roll, or a long way down if they want to get into the circle. They're going to have to go right past the likes of Codina Power on the edge of Quarry, maybe number one on the west side. Whereas the teams on the east also have it a little bit harder. Red Reserve, Heroes X, and Unique. They have NGG right in front of them.
Just to talk real quick about a fight that was currently happening on the eastern side, it was actually Team Unique, going for the boat rotation. Yeah. They were fighting versus WSK. WSK lost 2 members to Team Unique. Team Unique got 2 kills in that one. So they're able to push in. They still have a full squad, and they're looking strong on the way they're rotating. But they're going to be clashing with a few teams on the side. And one clash is going to be happening in that current location is going to be with MGG and Heroes X. But also Red Reserve on another part of their own on that side. They're going to have a little bit of a hard engagement. Red Reserve losing quite a few of their members there. Frost, Novas really struggling to make it through. Can they pull off the reses though? I think it's only Dusk remaining right there, I'm pretty sure. Oof.
It feels like Red Reserve are just kind of rotating, as if like, we're fine. Come on, you're in phase 4. You should be looking on the feed. You should know that there's a hell of a lot of players around you. They have been rotating very well up until this point. All credit to Red Reserve, but for a fact that teams are going to be so much closer to you at that point in the game. Dusk has been forgotten about. It means that you might be able to survive as the lone wolf. It is Sandhawk. At the stake, you can get a good result.
Anything is possible in Sandhawk. They just got sandwiched up, unfortunately. They shouldn't have stayed on the edge of the circle for so long. I think, not even them, just all the teams that were there really struggled on that fight. 3 members getting taken up. Team Unique did lose 1 member in that fight. That was Memphis. Hopefully they'll be able to do still really good impact with 3 members. But now Heroes X slowly pushing from the direction of the real deal. They've been holding on to this position for so long right now. And they haven't needed to give it up because the circle's been just consistently shifting in their favor.
Yeah, no, so they've been able to focus on that downhill area, the one area where they are able to punish a couple of teams rotating in. At this point, it is Heroes X, but it's definitely not going to be easy. Heroes X currently lying in 3rd place overall in the standings. They've shown their dominance. They've gotten a chicken dinner in yesterday's games, and they want to secure that World League spot.
In 5, they're pushing their way in the circle up north on the eastern side. They got WSK, a member of WSK, which is going to be spraying right behind them, so they're going to be a little bit careful about how they're going to push this to avoid this backstab situation. But now at least they got keys inside. He's got the Orm, which on Sandhawk is not the most efficient map, but if you can hit those shots, or you can be insane.
That's going to have been eliminated. Keys switches from the Orm onto the M4 to punish Heroes X, but he gets knocked down by Keys. In return, you do see Daddy from the real deal backstabbing and getting a knockdown onto Solus.
A pop a little bit of utility, but I don't think the real deal are going to allow you to pull off that res, my friend. I am really sorry, Kudur, but he's going to still give it his very best shot, as we do know. And also the circle is going to be moving in 25 seconds, so the clock is ticking for Heroes X. How are they going to play this one? If I were them, I would not even commit for the res. This is going to be such a hard time. But no, Daddy moves at the same time while Kudur is moving up. He barely misses it.
Oh, that was close. He survived by the skin of his teeth. Now, one thing we haven't seen is that the phase 5 circle shifted down to south. West is NGG and Nomad Gaming. Engage Itachi onto Lunatic. Shifts behind the rock. Protect themselves on the downhill. You have Aldic and Satsura up above. That's going to be the end of Lunatic, and Nomad will keep on going, trying to get in the circle on the other side as a 3-man team.
NGG at this very point, they had no need
to
move, but now it's going to be out circle. Oh, they see no get up for a split second. Hit your shots. Oh my god, that was such a close call for Beast. But now he's going to run away from that blue zone. 1 tick and you're a goner. You still got 2 members of Nomad Gaming on the other side of the hill, so it's still not over for NGG. They still got to run a really long way out of it for the real deal. They also have to give away their compound. They're moving forward, but so many squads have an angle on them, especially number 1, which is going to be a big issue in those rice fields.
Oh man, shifting around. Quarry at this stage of the game, it's so hard.
Right.
We do lose another couple of teams. Now we're down to 11. Azazi's trying to hold on. Haksha trying to get the revive on the Bougie. They're trying to hold on, but Dream Eaters are looking to come in from the side. They could actually get the thorn in the side for the real deal as Unicorns of Love. They went out earlier on. We are seeing the teams who've gone out up until this point. WSK also eliminated.
Yeah, WSK unfortunately struggling a little bit at the very end. That fight with Team Unique did definitely hurt them quite a bit, but Mortez on the backside. Gonna get a member down. Now he's just going to try and run over to his team. Hopefully will not get shut down. The Real Deal still looking strong on their position, but Morteza, by getting that knockdown, is going to buy him just enough time to make it over to the building with Selim.
We do finally lose Red Reserve. Just the last player goes down, and now we're down to 9. Imzazi claps right back onto Heroes X.
Vengeance time, baby. There you go, but the circle is still shifting down south to the building, to the compound of UDR Killers. But man advantage is what UDR Killers are currently lacking. Can they make up for that by holding this compound? We'll have to wait and see. But number one, they are still in game. Can they finally get themselves this chicken dinner they've been longing for so long? We'll have to see. But now can they power the Real Deal? They're still going to get very close to each other. But unfortunately, the Real Deal, they are going to get taken out in 7th position. And UDR Killers, they're putting in their weight on this game.
Well, they are, but they have the compound inside the circle. They are only a 2-man team.
Wow.
Alke gets knocked down. Sandro is now left on his own. Can he get the revive? No, he cannot, because it's in the building opposite side. That gives number one a chance to rotate in and overtake that spot. Hall closes up. That's going to be a number one, but don't send all 4 players inside that building. No. Have 2 players on the outside overlooking. You're still a full squad. There's only 11 players left. There's still 6 teams. Do the maths, my friends.
Imperium, the last member of Team Unique, Frozen, is actually in the cavern underneath. You can't see it right now, but he has no chance of escaping. Yeah, you can see, like, right there in the distance, like the Team 16. He's the last member, and he's just in the cavern there. He can't move. There's no way of him to escape from there, so he's going to have to do a battle of heals, try and aim for extra positioning points. But Team Unique will not get a chicken dinner. That's 100% for sure.
Now we're down to 5 teams, 9 players left. Heroes X, Nomad Gaming, UDR Killers, N1, Team Unique are your 5 teams left. Satsora, the last man standing. Sandro, the last man standing. Heroes X with 2 players left. Number 1, they're currently lying in 16th place, so in theory, they're number 16 at this point in the regional finals. Can they kick off day 2 with the chicken dinner?
Clock is ticking for Frozen. He has 2 first aid kits, so he does not have a lot of time virtually available for him. But can some other teams die before he does himself? We'll have to see right now. Heroes X, they're the first one to get taken out, and they get indeed eliminated. That's going to be number 1, controlling this northern building of the compound pretty damn well. Selim is slowly going to try and crawl his way up to victory, but the blue zone is slowly ticking on his health bar. And Saturo is going to have to just run on through. Can it be the redeeming factor for Frozen? He's going to be bleeding out, and Unique will indeed get confirmed out in 5th position.
Oh, Satsura,
oh my God.
Satsura just about gets in. On top of the roof he goes. But has he been spotted by Taylor? Yes, he has. That's going to be a kill in the favor of Heroes X. But just like that, and 1 shut them down. It's 4 against 1. Sandro, can you pull off 1 knockdown? Another knockdown, not enough. And 1, get the chicken dinner. What a start for N1 in day 2.
You know what? That victory from number 1 is a little bit of a slap in the face. We said their rotations yesterday, a little bit of a struggle. They don't do them so well, but this time they just kept rotating so aggressively later on down the line. And it's just so good because they kept pushing up north, downhill, which is also a little bit tricky to pull off. But because UDR Killers did not have the man advantage, they were able to get there. And even though the kill amount is not too high for them, and I'm really impressed with how they rotated this game. So I got to say, good job to number 1, getting their very first chicken dinner for this regional finals.
And it was also because the circle kind of didn't go super far north on phase 2. There was quite a lot of space on the west side. Most of the teams had committed to the south side of the map. So that gave them consistently great space. And because we didn't see a kind of a southwest circle shift until like phase 5 in a harsh way, yeah, number 1 just had plenty of space. Yeah, they only got 4 kills, but that chicken dinner, that confidence, that, you know, because even though they secure the world spot, they, you know, the mental side plays with you. And you know, that's an element that would have been on their mind. So they know starting off day 2, yeah, we can get the job done.
I gotta say, like, this game of Sanhok was a really good way to get these games started today. Like, it had some really interesting rotations. That Team Unique boat rotation, one, they even shut down like 2 members of WSK right after. I was really happy to see that currently happen. But then, of course, like, you know, the miss nade of Hiran, unfortunately, for Unicorns of Love, maybe a little bit of regret there. I'm pretty sure that will be the case, but it's completely fine. It does happen, a little mistake. it does not kill you. So you can come back stronger in the next game, which will be on a wrangle.
There you go. I see what you did there. What doesn't kill you make you stronger. That was the moment we did lose the IGL of Ghost got Ghost down to 3 players, and Heroes X did punish Red Reserve. Feel like a little bit of lackadaisicalness came out from that team. A little bit narrow-mindedness from Red Reserve meant that they lost 3 players and left Dusk on his own.
I gotta say, one rotation in this game I was really proud of was like the rotation that we actually called out for Nomad Gaming. That was going to be rotating on the northern coastline, go through the water, and they kept pushing on the position of UDR killers. And that rotation is what allowed them to get such a high position, like in 4th position overall. Scored himself how many kills was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kills total and a 4th position. The rotation was spot on, you know, just an easy way, and you also can't get attacked from the backside. Even though there was Red Reserve, there was somewhat going to go there. But they got the intel that there was a team currently located there, so like, we're not going to go for that. We're not going to commit. We're going to go towards docks. And it just made it even easier for Nomad Gaming to hold on to that spike.
Honestly, it's just Nomad Gaming doing Nomad Gaming things. You know, they're a team that we know that have a rich history in PUBG Mobile. They have their reputation. They have their playstyle locked down, and they do a damn good job at pulling it out of the bag. But never mind Nomad Gaming. This was the team stats in number 1. Yeah, only 4 kills. Yes, only 800 damage, but at the end of the day, they did what they had to do. They rotated how they had to rotate. They got into that compound when it needed to be done as a full squad, secured that number 1 spot in that game.
No, just very passive gameplay, like from the early stage to the mid-game stage, and then when they were forced, you know, to go into a specific compound, the engagement was spot on, and also the synergy, which is what we were talking a little bit about, like not only the rotations, synergy, they were struggling a little bit on that, but like that synergy on that push upon the compound of UDR killers was exactly the kind of playstyle that they need to try and just step up their gameplay to the next level. Can they do that throughout the next 5 remaining games for today? That is the question that I want to have answered. If they can do that, I wouldn't be surprised to see them back in top 5, but I want to see games like this every single time almost.
Of course, they did get help from Heroes X because Heroes X did initially get the knockdown on the Alga. I'm not saying that it would have completely stopped M1 in their tracks, but that was still an element that helped M1 take control of that compound. So that was interesting to see. But the top players from that game, Salem from Heroes X getting 4 kills. Beast of NGG living up to his name, getting 3 kills. Gonzo of Konina, power player that we know, a guy that we know, hugely talented, getting 2 kills and 1 assist. And then Advocate from Dream Eaters getting 1 kill but 2 assists. Got the job done.
Yeah, Dream Eaters taking the fight up north versus Footballist. Got a little bit of a few shots taken up, but like the fact that they were rotating like from the very edge, they got gatekeeped at some point later on down the line, so they really struggled to make it through, which is why they didn't make it top 5 this game. But the intention of rotating up north, I think, was the better playstyle, but the fact that it kept going like south many times in a row, it's unfortunately just can't make up for that. It's RNG just not really working your way there, and it's what happened yesterday, but like the inverse. Yesterday was like north, north, north. Today's like south, 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 every single time.
And also we're seeing more circles on the east. I know we even saw that yesterday, but it's still kind of crazy to see. But this is your overall rankings, guys, after 7 games. Heroes X on top of the table, 49.5 points, but Footballers on the exact same. Team Unique 2 points behind, and Nomad Gaming only 4 points behind Unique.
And things are definitely getting really interesting. Just a little quick point of recap also, if you did not hear what we said at the start of the broadcast, you know, yesterday's points were divided by 2 because we did have some technical issues. So that means that this is why we're having like half points right now, like 43.5, for example, Nomad Gaming. So things are a little bit, you know, maybe in a disorder, in a little bit of a situation you might not expect that much. So as you go on for today's games, like things will get a little bit more, you know, like even throughout the things, and we'll slowly come back to normally the same situation we were yesterday in the overall standings. So it'll take a little bit of time to get back there, but it's completely okay. But you know what? I'm seeing right now, number 1, getting back in like 7th position. On this game, like this is exactly what they need. Is just, once again, consistency is going to be key for this team.
Oh yeah, of course, one performance from pretty much any of these teams right down to 16th place will see them jump up. We're not that far, especially because we have another 6 games tomorrow, so that is always going to make a difference. But yeah, it's unfortunate to see some teams slipping back, like Red Reserve, Unicorns of Love. It's great to see number 1 coming back into it. I know what they can do. I know PRZ from the Vainglory days. So yeah, incredible to see them getting that chicken dinner. But this was your damage leaders from that Sandhawk map.
Very even from NGG and upwards, except for Team Unique, they had a little bit lower, but also they did have, you know, Frozen, who were just stuck in a cavern, couldn't do being insane because you only had 2 first aid kits. But like, the thing is Sandhawk, right? You never know how it's going to happen. Of course, your kills and your damage overall is going to be a lot more even and a lot more average for every single team. So I'm not really surprised to see this factor come on through. And, you know, also number one, they got less than a K damage because they played so passive up north and they only really started taking fights like at the late game stage. So it does really explain why the damage count is very low for most of these squads.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how kind of similar it was in the damage point of view. I think that came down to the fact that because Sandhawk is... You don't want to really rotate through Sandhawk if you don't have to, right? Because of the third-party potential. So teams were just settled inside the circle, stayed safe, didn't really peek too far. So we saw the damage pretty low.
There you have it. First chicken dinner of the day on Sandhawk. That'll be for number one. Can they make another one today? We'll have to wait and see. Stick around if you want to see some Marango action coming up in just a few short minutes. Thank you so much for waiting, ladies and gentlemen. One game has already been played, taken over on Sanhok by none other than number one, finally breaking that losing streak and getting himself that big dub they nicely deserved.
Yeah.
But now, Erangel is going to be the next map. We're going to be dropping on, boys and girls. Let's freaking go. Imperium, first Erangel game of the day is going to be damn sexy.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm delighted. Game one over and done with. Back to some form of normalities. All the teams ready to fight for their spot, fight for the standings, fight for the prize pool, and fight for that one Golden World League spot. Heroes X really starting to take things over at the end of the day in the overall standings in first place. They are the team that will have the Golden World League spot if it was to end as it is now. The two teams behind them, Footballers and TV League, they've already secured their World League spot, C-Max. So they have that kind of cushion right now. And then you have Nomad Gaming in fourth place, but they've only got a 6-point lead ahead of Nomad Gaming. So it's still incredibly close.
And so, like, at the end of the day, we're still going to have, like, tomorrow, 6 more games coming up. So normally we were going to be done today, but no, we're still going to have 6 more games. And still in the air, we'd have no clue who's going to be taking the wins. Because, like, for example, for the MENA region, we had no idea until, like, the very last few games that, like, it was going to be Yalla Esports taking it. They were, like, in the middle of the overall standings. And then the last few games, big slap in the face for all the squads up top and just took the spot for themselves. So that might happen also. And I wouldn't be surprised if it does also happen for the European stage, because things are like, I have no idea who's going to be taking it. But so far, Nomad Gaming, Heroes X, looking like the 2 best contestants for that spot.
Definitely, but I think it's even more unpredictable, like, you know, compared to MENA region, where we saw at the end of game one, maybe like kind of, you know, 16 to 13. Yeah, okay, they could do some damage and have an effect, but it wasn't the same type of, you know, capability. Whereas in the EU regional finals, call it whatever you want, but honestly, I've absolutely no doubt that Ghost Skillet, WSK, Unicorns of Love, that's it, they'll get the chicken dinner needed.
No, they did. They're definitely going to need it. Like today, they need a great performance. They need 1 chicken dinner minimum and to hit consistent results like throughout every single time. Like we say every single time for like every team, they will need to be consistent. But unfortunately, not every team can be consistent, because if one team is consistent, that means another team that did badly. If one team did badly, there's another team that is consistent. You know, coming back a little bit to that scenario. But they need to just get decent results. You know, hitting like you say 15 points average, I say 10, like around that ballpark, like just to for me and Imperium to be like, you know, on the same sector. Like we're going to say between 10 and 50 points to be consistent and get 1 chicken dinner to just climb up, or at least a minimum of top 3 to make yourself climb up in the overall rankings. That's what we've seen from some of these squads. Like for example, on that chicken dinner, right, for number 1, climbing back up to 7th position. Boy, that's what they needed.
Exactly, and the reason why I say 15 points is because that's taken into account a bad game. So yeah, okay, you're right, the average 10 points, maybe 13 or so, great, but I want to see a team over, let's say, 3 or 4 games get an average of 15 points per game. I kind of demand it in some way, because look, you know, I know the standard is incredibly high, the teams are playing, you know, to the best of their ability, but I just want to see that dominating factor, even if it's just for 2 or 3 games. I want to see that team that I can turn on and go, oh my absolute goddamn hell, Max, they've gone 3 games, 3 fantastic results, instead of, oh yeah, great result last game, but now they've dropped down to 16th. It makes me a little bit sad, Max, when I see that.
Like we're hoping, of course, to not see this kind of results with these teams is always a little bit sad, but at the end, we've got to try and see the bright side, see these teams that are currently doing good. And Ethan, like, because you still go to 6 games tomorrow, like even the teams that are still in 16th position, which is currently, for example, WSK, Unicorns of Love in 15th, Goskill in 14th, they can still easily make a comeback. Like we saw their potential, like we talked about Goskill like time and time again, their potential is absolutely insanely huge. They just need to like go back into the mindset. And I think they even had like showed some good like intention on this game of Sanhok, but it's just they had a little bit of a hard time pulling off their play style.
It was just Sanhok kind of thing.
Things, yeah.
It was kind of Sanhok things. That's what I'm gonna put it down to. Yeah, you gotta be able to adapt, you gotta be able to, you know, deal with a map in the right way. But there was a lot of teams kind of clamoring around them, and they were getting engaged upon from kind of not a long distance, but from distances by a number of teams. And I think they just didn't really find their feet past phase 3.
Okay. I mean, phase 3 was when things like, that's when it started going like mainly south, like many times in a row. That's when like teams started to really struggle in their rotations. So, well, I hope that's not going to happen too many times. Like yesterday was like north, north, north. Today on the first game is south, south, south. I hope we're not seeing a pattern here because things could get a little bit tricky for these teams. Could also try and use that to their advantage, you know, kind of just predict where the circle's going to be going. But with that said, Imperium, the first game of Wrangle of the day, the first game of 3 games of Wrangle going to be slowly coming up. So you better get ready because you're going to have this time a lot of Wrangle games coming straight up. And of course, the plane path are going to be coming up. And who has this plane skin every time? Like, there's always the same player that has it. But I got to say, I love this plane skin. It's white.
It is. It's clean. It actually looks like kind of a commercial airline skin, if that makes sense. You know, welcome to Wrangle Airlines. This is your captain speaking. We are going from a plane directory from the north to the south, overlooking the likes of Ruins, Rostock. You will see plenty of beautiful locations, but you also might see a couple of bullets if you land too close to the opposing teams around you.
I've seen this plane path, of course, in a Red Reserve. They're going to go on Saverni. Team Unique, Footballist, I'm hoping to not see a fight like we saw it happen yesterday. That was on Novo. Unique seemed like, wait, are Footballist behind? They actually hit him right behind. Footballist, why are these teams focusing each other so much? Team Unique and Footballist always going in the same direction. What they could do, Team Unique or Footballist goes to George Paul and the other team just goes to Novo. Happy days. But no, they always drop together hand in hand.
Hand in hand. La 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 la.
In the edge, it's like, oh, we're friends. When they arrive, boom.
Like hand in hand, and then boom, guns go off and people go down. But I really want to put a request in for M1 to change their drop. So, but that's another case. As phase 1 is center. Max, once again, a clean phase 1 circle. I love to see it.
Spicy spaghetti coming straight up on the menu. So now these squads, hopefully, we won't be seeing any early big team squad wipeouts. So I'm really hoping to not see that. Also, we did already lose a Gonzo off in the power. So that is going to be a little bit of an F for them, of course. Hoping that they can try and make up for it a little bit later on down the line because they did kind of split job on the eastern side.
This kind of circle is going to be a little bit more difficult for Red Reserve to get a strong location in the circle. It will require them to pretty much, in my eyes, wrap around the east of Yasnai and come in via, let's say, Mansion or Shelter region, because a lot of teams have already landed kind of north of the circle, Roshawk school area, and that kind of leaves it a lot harder for them to rotate, let's say, directly down that south coastal line.
And the fact that like their rotation is going to be a little bit hard for them to pull off, that is the main reason why, as Red Reserve, you want to rotate early. Because right now, if you go for wide rotation, you're going to tank the blue a little bit longer. The chances of the team setting themselves up on the edge of the circle a lot bigger. So it's not the only them. It's also NGG. Like the chances of it actually going to Sosnovka Island finish are very slim. So I would say really get to the mainland early on just to make sure.
Ooh, Memphis getting knocked down early on, I believe, by Footballers. So Gay gets back in the vehicle now, looks to try and flank around, maybe try and secure the kill, but you don't want to compromise yourself, right? You don't want to put yourself in a position where you can get engaged on, especially so early in this game, Max.
Of course, like if there's a fight that's going to happen early on Wrangle, it's going to be Footballist and Team Unique. Like 90% of the time. Lutz is just going to get on top of Memphis. He's going to try and find the flush, and unfortunately, that should be the air. Wait, did he see him for a split second? He did not see him.
No, because he's behind the USC.
Yeah, he's behind it, yeah.
And also, he doesn't want to peek too far behind the door because he knows he's kind of, you know, potentially getting debated by the rest of Unique. And look, let's not forget, these two teams, they've already secured a World League spot. So I do think there's a, I'm not going to say lackadaisicalness about these two teams, but there's a certain level of like, look, we can have maybe a bit more fun, test each other a bit more, push each other to the limits as that kind of respect, that mutual understanding in these games and see what we can do and prepare ourselves better in that regard for the World League.
Legends think alike. Maybe that is also the reason why, but like they're already qualified, so they don't really have to care too much about like that. But still got $15,000 US. They can try and fight for that at the end. But Footballists, they got themselves one kill. They're like, okay, we got the man advantage. We're not going to over push and overstay our welcome towards the northern side of George Paul. We're going to go over to containers, which hasn't been hot dropped by anyone, and they can just get all that sexy loot for themselves. But Nomad Gaming going to be slowly cruising by school and apartment. But of course, because it's in such a wide area, it can easily just cruise very far away from that location without really getting threatened.
I like the fact that they're kind of go 2-2 split in some way, shape, or form in those vehicles and just kind of disengaging away and go past the Unicorns a lot towards the center of the circle on that Potato Hill. It's going to be a great spot to hold on to. It's hard, don't get me wrong, because if you allow teams to get too close to you, you can get caught out. But the benefit for them, and we've seen it in the past, is that they can potentially punish teams rotating down towards Potato Hill or even around it.
Like some teams in the center, that's going to be WSK. There's not been really too much happening over there in Pochinki. Normally, as UDR killers, they like to drop there. This time, they went already down south over to the northern side of the Southern River. So they got also a pretty nice position to hold on to. Going center, though, is going to be a lot more valuable. I would say I'm surprised that as of yet, no teams went for Pochinki Hill. Like, we talked about it many, many times, how good that position is. Normally, you see the Real Deal go for that position. But the Real Deal, they're just nowhere near because they're towards Mansion currently.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna have a second part of that sentence, but anyway, as no, Mike, yeah, I just kind of wasn't sure. I was like, is he gonna keep talking? But either way, UDR Killers and Team 5, UDR Killers holding on to that compound. Now, the last time in Arango, Max, they got caught out by footballers. They don't want the same thing happening again. I don't think it will happen again because Team 5 are a lot more passive of a team, so they'll be looking to shoot more from a distance. So that will give UDR Killers a little bit more space to dance around those buildings and find better positions to pop shots off from their location.
Also, Team 5 in that location, they got themselves a really, really good game at one point, so interested to see how they will be able to play around the area. They're definitely pretty familiar with it. Unicorns of Love slowly getting closer and closer to Nomad Gaming, but the plateau of Potato Hill is pretty big. If you do get intel, the fight can still potentially not even happen, but it really depends on how these two teams will be trying to play this fight on. I don't think there's really a reason for them to go for full-out ongoing war on Potato Hill. It won't help any of these two teams.
1218 have rotated onto Everest. I really like that. We didn't see that yesterday in any of the Erangel games. Of course, we didn't have all of them towards the Everest location, but 1218 occupying the high ground, it's going to give them great vision of teams, let's say, in around near Ruins, Footballers, and Unique, even go Skill if they go near Gaka. It's just nice play. It's not too far into the circle, but it's enough where they won't get too harshly punished and they can disengage away on phase 2.
One thing I'm happy to see at least is that like there are actually like no teams in Ruins, like compared to yesterday when we had like how many teams did we have? Like 3-4 teams in Ruins, and you were so depressed, Imperium. You were like, oh no, I thought you were gonna quit.
I was just like, yeah, look, can we not talk about it? Like, can we not bring up the bad memories, Max, please?
Oh my god! But yeah, I do like the fact that 1218 went for Everest. They get a lot of information as long as they don't overstay because it's on the edge of circle over on the northeast, on the northwest. So get information, that's great, but like also rotate quickly because if some teams like get on the compound surrounding Everest, you might struggle a little bit. And they have started rotating away from it actually to give them like a lot of credit on that.
Now, Red Reserve have gone for the rotation that I mentioned. I kind of feel it's a little bit too late. 2 members of the Real Deal are in one of those compounds that would have been ideal for the whole of Red Reserve. If they can still get into that position and maybe push the Real Deal out, that would be good. Or if the Real Deal do disengage away and go more towards the circle. But it is nice to see Red Reserve rotating intelligently. I just would like to have seen it come out a couple of minutes earlier.
Luckily enough, this is the first phase, so I'll let that one slide. But they like from now on, they got to be a lot more reactive because they're lucky that no teams are currently localized really on the eastern side. If there was some teams towards Mansion, there was a team on Yasnai which were actually Dream Eaters, but they left. Luckily enough for Red Reserve, that could have got a little bit tricky. But here it is, first phase slowly closing up. Will we have a hard shift or will we go central? If it does go central, a lot of teams on the east, west, and north are going to struggle a little bit, mainly for Bliss and Team Unique. Both nice and central. Yeah,
it's centered up quite nicely. There's still plenty of space up in the north for Footballers and Unique. Only N1 can potentially punish them. NGG are in a nice location towards the south of Pochinki Hill. The Real Deal are going to have to rotate in, but they've already sent players forward. Red Reserve are looking to also respond pretty quickly, and this is where things might get a little bit crazy a little bit early because teams, yes, they're already in the circle, but they're kind of rotating a little bit closer to each other.
I mean, which you can somewhat expect, but because it's around Pachinki, there's not really too many valuable options for a lot of teams unless you go in Pachinki itself. And you said it many times, right? You don't like the fact that teams go into those areas. And like Pachinki is a compound that I completely disagree with teams going into. And again, like 5-6 teams in there is definitely not going to work out. If it was just Night, I'll be like, oh, why not? But this is Pachinki we're talking about. One of the most aggressive drops, the boot camp of Erangel. So things could get a little bit tricky if teams decide to commit there.
We did see footballers in Team Unique kind of engage on each other. A knockdown came down on the hands of Unique by footballers. So that's going to be kind of, another kind of, and another one from footballers, and another one.
Another one.
And another one. As the meme goes, Colina Power looked to fire shots off at Red Reserve. It's just a little bit too far away. That distance just isn't going to work out for Colina Power.
I like the position the Red Reserve are going for, even though there was not their main intention. They were going towards a compound held so far by the Real Deal, but the Real Deal, they just took a few shots and no, this is our house. We won't let you take it. Then out on the northern side of that river, you can't get attacked from the southern side. You're free of that. You just got to focus on 180 degrees of land up north of yourself. Exactly. And even though that was not their main intention, the fact that they got there got to somewhat save them. And if the circle goes down south of them, they're just going to have so many teams pushing on their location. They can just get so many frags.
A much better reaction coming out from Red Reserve. They will protect them pretty nicely, I think, for the next, at least phase 3. And then they can look to think about what they want to do from there as Unicorns of Love. They're on the Potato Hill, but so are Nomad Gaming. And this is what I was talking about. It was great for Nomad Gaming to be on Potato Hill, but having more than 2 teams on that hill, on that vast land area, can make it very, very difficult indeed, as the blue zone of phase 2 is closing in.
Slowly seeing some team getting very close. I was about to talk about Footballist and Team Unique.
Yeah.
Dangerously close. Footballist, they're just pushing.
Oh, no.
They have no idea that Unique is there. Lightning, the birthday boy. Will he get his birthday present? Will he get all these frags on Footballist? They're now just going to be stopping out, sending Lutz on the first man to engage. He's going to be the YOLO player of Footballist. For Lightning, becoming the bush, becoming in one with the bush. And just waiting for his time to strike.
Happy birthday to you, Lightning. Happy birthday to you from everybody in the PUBG Mobile EU scene. Frozen gets knocked down. Lightning is the last man standing. Will it strike twice, or should I say 4th time for footballers, or will Lightning be able to catch him out? Fires the shots off. Doesn't quite get it off. That's going to be the end of Unique at the hands of footballers.
I normally got the birthday luck here. That was the birthday nightmare. That was just so unfortunate for Team Unique. I mean, they already lost a few members earlier. They lost Frozen after getting shut down by Jumitsu, and then it was just the last kill. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get the surprise factor. And you know that when you do not know the players against you, you move in very unexpected ways. You can't really predict. And I think that's really what had a little bit of an issue on Team Unique. So very unfortunate. They will take 16th position, but they're already qualified, so won't have too much of a big impact on them. But still unfortunate. But Pachinki...
Ooh. Now, okay, it's not too bad for Red Reserve, right? Because they can just stick towards the coastline. It's still not going to be easy because so many teams are going around. But look at that wave of teams rotating in N1, Nomad Gaming, Unicorns of Love, Konina Power, all going in from the north side. And then on the west, you do have 1218 and Go Skilla. Go Skilla could be the team to get the best result out of this situation right now, because they are kind of on their own on the west side of the circle.
Yeah, they're just going to be cruising their way through, 1218, definitely going to have a really easy entry point. Goskiller and NGG on the hill of Pachinki. I absolutely love that position, but now a lot of teams are committing for the push.
4 teams are inside Pachinki? 4
teams or something They're very, very close to each other, all playing on the north/eastern section of it. But Unicorns of Love, they're going to get the intel on WSK. WSK committing to a little bit of a split here, but Dream Eaters also going for their very own compound breach. And that's up to now 4 teams in this one compound. Things are going to get sweaty. Who will be crowned the kings of Pachinki?
Oh, man, you know what? I asked for normal circles. This definitely isn't really a normal circle. But look, at the end of the day, the team in theory don't have to commit to Pachinki. They're choosing, they could easily pull off a Heroes X. They're on the outskirts. They can actually punish teams from a distance that are in Pachinki. So really, in my opinion, the biggest winners of that circle shift of the rotation was Heroes X. 10 out of 10.
We just talked also about this a little bit earlier, right? That there's not too many areas around Pachinki with so many teams, like 58 players, 15 teams still alive to actually commit to. So, of course, things are going to get a little bit tricky. You're going to have to commit to moves you might not always be okay with, but that is completely fine as long as you're able to survive for a little while longer. And also the teams in like Pachinki, no big frags really coming out just yet, but as many of the fights around Pachinki, though, are currently unfolding quite a bit heavily.
UDR Killers in Team 5, with those circle shifts and the heavy movement from some of these teams, they have quite a decent bit of space around them on the southeast side of Pachinki, nothing too crazy. And what is interesting about all these teams who are in Pachinki, they're all on the right side of the road, right? There's no team that are on the left side. So if the circle once again shifts in the favor of Pachinki, a team could go on the left-hand side and third party some of these teams. Or,
I want to
well,
really
fifth
see
party.
this circle if it does shift. Oh, it's still on Pachinki. Imperium, things are getting sweaty around here. But Sprone going to get naded up. Unicorns of Love, of course, they're going to commit. They want to allow Rest to come on through, even though nobody was unfortunately going to rest Sprone. Lonely as can it be. But now all the teams, even 1-2-1-8, they were looking so good, but now they're like, we're getting really pushed towards Pachinki. How are we going to do this? And even Heroes X, they were playing on the edge. They can still hold on to the very edge on the east, but things are going to get very sweaty for most of these squads.
Honestly, if I was Heroes X, I would stay exactly the hell where you are. Yes, it's going to be risky, but it gives you a better chance of getting a positional standing point at this point in the game. Because if you rotate into Pachinki, you are going to get blown the hell up by a number of these teams. Now, Victor gets knocked down by NGG on the rotation from Red Reserve. Go Skilla, go onto the left-hand side of Pachinki. That's what I was talking about. That's a great rotation coming out from them. And Dream Eater looking for Red Reserve. Just gets out of the vehicle before it blows up and just about manages to survive.
Well, Red Reserve had to just cross so many teams on that rotation towards Pachinki. I don't even know how they're still alive at this stage. But the Real Deal also rotating from the east, able to find himself a little bit of a section, chucking some nades. They want to clear out Unicorns of Love. And Unicorns of Love, this is just too much for them to deal with at this stage. Hopefully they will be able to remain alive. But UDR Killers still on the outskirts, still in that dip. How are they going to remain alive? Because those dips are very scary. They're a death trap, especially for the Real Deal on UDR Killers. One nade and boom, you're gone.
Why do you go into dip UDR in the Real Deal? It's such a bad place to be. Hell is a bad place to be. The dips are a bad place to be. I do like the fact that WSK are kind of split. Yeah, okay, one is inside the dip, but you know what? You know, the other player is inside the compound and one trying to hold on. They're going up against 1-2-1-8. Nacho was knocked down. Bahal should be able to get the revive. They still are as a full squad. AWM and Pachinki, not gonna lie, I don't agree with that.
I mean, you never know. If you just get a nice flick shot, it could have some more of an impact. But of course, you want to try and switch to like the main ARs, even potentially shotguns, because like City finishes like very unpredictable of how they do work out. So of course, things are going to get pretty sweaty. Very unpredictable game here. But it seems that the high ground could have a really good point of pressure.
Max, we have 15 teams. 12 of them are in Pachinki. 12 are in Pachinki. Literally everybody except NGG, T5, and Heroes X are in Pachinki. This is incredible. I'm not going to lie. The toxic side of me is absolutely loving it. You see the players, they drop hot in Pachinki and Classics. This is what it all is prepared for. You got to be able to deal with the million amount of footsteps going on around you.
We're hoping to have this actual Pachinki City finish. It needs to shift up north for Phase 5. If that is the case, we'll be having an actual proper Pachinki finish. Of course, that nade on holes, will it connect? It looks like it was pretty good. We'll chuck him down to 50 HP. And now he's got to heal back up a little bit more. But WSK, UDR Killers, they're going to take a fight. But no team still dying out. Things are getting so close and sweaty. But Heroes X going to be losing cooldown. Like, so much fighting happening in the kill feed. We can't even follow suit with what's happening. This is so unpredictable.
Crazy. It's crazy. We still have 52 players, Max. 52 bodies still in the lobby. 52 players still hanging around Pachinki as Phase 4 is about to be popped up. Where is it going to go? Is it going to stay in Pachinki? Is it going to shift up north? Is it going to shift down south? It shifts inside the Pachinki. It is still a little bit north. So N1 have a great location, but NGG, Heroes X, and Team 5 all have to find somewhere inside Pachinki without getting absolutely taken out of it.
Boy, Nomad Gaming on the chapel/church section on the high ground, they can just get so much, like, gather so much intel and potentially steal kills away from these fights. So this is huge for them. They just need to hold on to this position. But you said there's 3 teams currently, they've got a fight for position in the circle, rotating a little bit late, but they will have to try and make up for it. Red Reserve able to do that rotation too. They did it earlier. But here, there you go. Solid's going to try and run his way through. Hopefully not going to get backstabbed by Footballist. But these dips, especially the dip of UDR Killers, is not in circle Imperium. They're going to have to run out 3 meters. WSK, they're not going to let that rotation happen.
The real deal are actually inside the circle and this, but the dip's not down it. Argo, final DP 28 shots. Indeed, you will. Onto a member of UDR Killers. Now he backs off onto the side of the building waiting because he knows if he's peaked for half a second too long, you're going to get their face ripped off from another location. Redder, they're still holding on as a 3-man team. Novas is actually outside the circle, so they've gone for a bit of a split. Now is WSK Argo trying to find a better spot inside the middle of Pachinki. This is going to get damn hairy, damn scary because there's still 52 players up.
Oh, here it is, Footballist. They had to breach eventually. There's no easy way around this. So, of course, you're going to have to take the building of number 1. Number 1 don't have the man advantage right now, but a lot of teams have an angle on this current specific building. So, Footballist slowly going to take this one up. PRZ, Vindex, how can you defend this one? You are split away from your team, but Rob has got knocked away. Footballist losing 1. Are they going to commit? 72 would be great, but with PRZ on the roof, this is going to be a little bit harder for them to actually fully engage.
True, but Nacho and Halls have to be the players for number 1 to get the better of footballers. From the background, they need to take them out one by one. Let's go, Skillet, still holding on, knocking down a member of Team 5. Frost and Dusk on the left-hand side of Pachinki, staying safe right now, as Argo from WSK still waiting to get more and more kills for his side.
Raum was healed back up, so now Footballist, are you going to commit or are you going to take this one through? I mean, Lutz is going to go for it, absolutely battering down with that Scar. But he does get knocked away in the process. Now Footballist, they took the first member down. They got to go onto the rooftop to get rid of PRZ, but PRZ will be the second casualty taken down by actually Unicorns of Blood, getting the third party on this one. And it will be, of course, stolen away by Footballist very swiftly. And now number 1, unfortunately, with the 2 members you talked about earlier, they were not able to assist this fight. Footballist, that's an easy takedown.
True, but they still have 2 members up, right? So that 2-2 split has still kind of worked out. It's not ideal. It's not favorable. But oh my God, Max, it's right in the middle of Pachinki. Heroes X go down. 14 teams, 44 bodies left on this lobby. Let the bodies hit the floor.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Let's go, Imperium. Now all teams going to have to try and shift over to the southern side on the west. Red Reserve, they're already in that kind of general position. They still got to push a little bit forward. In WSK, very central. A lot of teams are going to get very close to them, but NGG in the Harry Potter house, they're going to get slowly engaged by Nomad Gaming. Their chapel is not at play anymore, and they get some really good engagement. Nomad Gaming clearing the house. That's Harry Potter Tower under the control of Nomad Gaming.
NGG go down. You talk about Color Castle, Maxman. In this ending, in this finish, there's nothing color. It's all play by play. It's all crazy as the teams look to shift up, rotate. Nomad Gaming adding another kill after kill. Good stuff coming out from them. WSK still holding on. Gonna look to get the revive. Actually, Rip confirms the kill on the Thanos. Snaps him into smithereens. The footballers trying to rotate around. Rom gets knocked down by Satsura. Good stuff coming out from Nomad Gaming as they try and respond vote. Boom! Tonina Power gets the better of the majority of footballers.
No time to breathe, Footballist. There was no easy way around it. They had to breach once more, but unfortunately they lost most of their members. They still have Lovas in on the backside. It can assist their team to try and get a few extra position, because with all the action happening, they don't have time to focus on just one member if they just don't see it.
In a matter of about 30 seconds, we went from 52 players to 33. I said it. Let the bodies hit the goddamn floor at 3 meters. And Red Reserve, you also have Sun HP of Team 5 ready to third party as Meku rotated into the building. Has to go upstairs. There's a body up there. Oh, no. Yes, he finds Frost. Nice angle by Meku.
Yeah, surprised that wasn't held down, but now that's going to be the last member. Sees Advocate for a split second, hits almost none of those bullets, but he does get at the end of the spray, but doesn't happen. So damn low. You've got to try and heal up, my friend. Red Reserve might be the next team to get eliminated in this game, but Team 5, they got themselves into the dip. They got to be careful. A few nades, especially from Aegon, from Goskiller right behind, and they could be gone.
Oh my god, Team 5 are actually in a really prime position on the south side of the circle, but anything can happen. We lose Solke, we lose Lovaz, and we lose footballers as a team. Now we're down to 10, 29 players. Go Skillet, they're still a full squad, but Nomad Gaming, how the hell do they still manage to rotate so nicely, even in this kind of city? Crazy goddamn finish. It's unbelievable.
Because there was so little amount of teams up north because there's no buildings up there. They just took control first and they really just made their way through up north, kept rotating a little bit further down south every single time. And the circle shifting once more, phase 6, right in the dead center of Pachiki's just right into play. But there you go, they go for Dust, the last member of Red Reserve. Unfortunately, they only had 2 members, but they still take 10th position on this one. 9 teams remaining at the end of the day. And now such a small amount of buildings are going to be still remaining. But the one team I'm scared about, that is WSK. All the teams around them, they're going to try and fight for that building. And they can't focus on everything around them.
Oh man, you talk about roadkill. We're going to have literal roadkill because look at that road going through Pachinki right in the center of the circle. No, Mad Gaming are a 3-man team. They rotate, get a little bit closer. 1-2-1-8 still a full squad. I don't think it really matters if you one player up or if you have a full squad because anything can happen as M1 getting engaged on by 1-2-1-8 from an angle. Good stuff from Bandita.
Number 1, they lost 2 members earlier. Now they're going to have to try and make up with what they have currently. The smoke's trying to buy a little bit of time, but it's just not going to be enough. And that'll be number 1 taken out after their last chicken dinner on Sandhawk. But things are getting pretty hefty, Imperium. Things are just about to close up. 8 teams remaining. The circle is closing up on these squads. And we'll be seeing a lot of teams, especially Dynev. They try to cross the road. But Dream Eaters, they have some utility. Trying to get more and more central as time goes by.
Yeah.
And slow. Oh, Egon sees it. Team 5. No, how does he survive? 1 HP.
Oh my god, how the hell did he survive? And you talked about the location held onto by WSK. They actually got eliminated. They got engaged on by Unicorns. A lot of max, so now we're down to 17. Sun HB was able to get a first aid kit off. You still have 3 members up for Ghost Skilla. Albie got knocked down, but I doubt he's going to get revived up at this late stage of the game. Nice by Agon. He is a dangerous player for his side. He finally gets a knockdown on the Sun HB, but with the 2 remaining members, a Team 5 inside that little cave, that little gutter, can they hold on?
Oh my god, Unicorns of Love, yeah, Law's gonna have to jump out, but I don't think he's gonna make it alive. I mean, that was an easy frag coming out from Dream Eaters. Tried to fly, but unfortunately he couldn't. Unicorns of Love will take 7th position. Finally, 6 team. Things are getting a little bit more concrete as to which team might take this chicken dinner. But Team 5 gotta be a little bit careful. You're very predictable on how you're gonna move away from that dip.
We could see it go Skillet chicken dinner underground. We could see a Dream Eaters chicken dinner bowl wall 1-2-1-8. They are a 2-man team. Konina Power still in this as a 3-man team, but look at all the bodies ahead of them. Look at all the players around. They've got to try and find a spot across the road. Nomad still in it. The members of 1-2-1-8 still trying to hold on as Whitey nearly gets engaged on just about managing to survive.
Oh, gets prone on the balcony there, but this mini-map is almost useless. You can't even see what's currently happening. Where's the circle taken? As I have no clue. I think even the teams have no idea, but I like the fact of 1-2-1-8 trying to play on those rooftops, try and get a little bit more of an advantage and point of view on these squads. But now will it be useful with Dream Eaters getting slowly closer and closer to Boss Killer? But Kaz on Ivoro did have to jump out. He was just getting sprayed upon. But this is just, how can you follow this action? Things are getting so action-packed right now.
Wow, 16 players, 16. So let's have a slight breather. We've had craziness for the last 10 minutes. Let's slow it down for just a second. No, you know what? Let's not slow it down. The players are saying otherwise. They're engaging, Max.
Yeah, 1-2-1-8 finally getting closer and closer to the team. That's going to be Kanina Power. Some nades are coming out, and they'll be teased out. For Goskiller, they had to go for their very own push. They do get Dream Eaters wiped out. They are almost trying to find the flush too. 1-2-1-8 was still 2 members. They lose 1, down to only 1 member remaining with 3 meters. They were looking so strong on their shift on the south, but now they got eliminated. And Goskiller, they are still going to be alive. Can you pull off all the reses though?
I think they can. I think they can because they are kind of getting a little bit. The distraction between Konina Power and Nomad Gaming is giving the space for Ghost Skilla to drive one through. They got the squad wipe on the Dream Eaters. Elod gets revive. Now it's going to be up for the third member, Ghoskiller, to go through. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the circle is in the favor of Nomad Gaming on that 3-tier building. The blue zone is closing in. It's the last phase of the game. Aldic in across the wall, trying to find him.
Yeah.
He does indeed. That's going to be a knockdown for Nomad.
You got to get as many frags as you can possibly, because he's going to have to jump away from this rooftop. And this could be a little bit of an issue. Godskiller still with 3 members, able to pull off the double res you talked about earlier. And now they've got to try and make it up alive, but couldn't have power. They'll get eliminated in 3rd position. Still a really good attempt. But Godskiller, 6 kills in this Pachinki finish. I don't even know how many Nomad have, but Nicola will be dying out as he tanks the blue zone.
Nomad have 8 kills. They're ready to pick up the chicken dinner. They're in 5th place so far. They're right close behind that golden World League spot held on by Heroes X right now. They want to overtake it. They want to get the job done. They want to get the dub. But on the high ground, Ghoskiller are ready to shut them down.
Oh, nice reflex on Lunatic. The blue zone is going to be against you very, very soon. You're going to have to jump over this wall in a matter of seconds, so they have no more time. The blue zone will do some work on Lunatic. He will die out because of it, but he's able to push forward, trying to go for the backstab, but Albie takes some blue zone, take damage. How can he make it work out? I think it's going to be definitely really hard on him, and he does die out. That means the Godskiller will be taking this Pachinki finish chicken dinner on a angle with 7 kills to show off for it. Oh my god.
Honestly, Max.
I need to drink. I need water.
Unbelievable. I don't think I've seen such an action-packed 15 minutes of my life. I don't think I've ever casted such an action-packed 15 minutes. Like I said, there was little to no color casting in the final 10-15 minutes of this game. It was all just play-by-play craziness as the teams clashed together. But Ghoskiller closed it out. 7 kills, 20 points. Nomad Gaming, 8 kills. Kunina Power, 5 kills. Unicorns, a love, getting 10 kills, and I think, what, 4th or 5th place? Really strong result from them. So happy to see them get that strong 15-point game or so.
For Unicorns of Love, they got 7th position in this game. They did definitely really good. They struggled a little bit because they were on the outskirt of the compound, so they had to force like building by building. They'd have a little bit of a hard time. But man, they don't even have an early game in this game. Like, I just have the impression of most of this game was just Pachinki finished, and it was just action-packed through and through.
Jeez. I'm literally sweating. Like, honestly, I'm sweating from that game just because it was so crazy. I can only imagine what was going through the players' mind, Max. Like, how intense, how hard, like, you know, how fast were their hearts beating? How unbelievably manic was that? Because, like, they were also fighting in between the smoke. They were hearing shots all around them. They're, you know, as an IGL, you talk about, okay, this team's gone down. This player's gone down. There was absolutely no way any of these teams had any kind of control of, you know, or any kind of idea of what teams were left in this game, how many, you know, kind of how many players. Well, of course they would have known how many players were left, but it was just so crazy.
I mean, like, 2 days, Imperium, you got to tell yourself, 2 days of European regional finals. We got 2 city finishes, one of a Kendi, one in a Wrangle. Sometimes do entire tournaments and you don't even have 1 city finish. We have 2 in 2 days.
Yeah, but this is kind of special. I don't know why, but this is just kind of special. Like, honestly, I have such a smile on my face. It's unbelievable. Like, huge shout out and respect to every single team. Like, the teams that stayed on the outskirts of Pachinki, right? Heroes X, Red Reserve, UDR Killers, NGG. Because honestly, I didn't expect it to go into Pachinki. I really didn't. And I questioned the amount of teams. Initially, what was, I think, 4 teams committed to Pachinki initially. I questioned that. But look, the circle stayed there. It kept on going, and it ended up being in Pachinki.
Like, teams did really good, I gotta say, with like Dream Eaters, Ghoskiller, and Nomad Gaming. They went on the other side of the road. That was a gamble. Like, you had 2 gambles to do this game. First gamble was to rotate first into Pachinki to get a good position, which is what Nomad Gaming did. They got the chapel, they got the high ground, they control all the area. And then the other gamble was to decide on which side of the road you wanted to commit to. It kept on going over to the road over on the west. The teams that were there, they were to pick up all the teams trying to rotate across the road. That is why it was a little bit of a gamble. You know, RNG sometimes has something to do with it. But most of these teams did extremely well. And it is, you know, as you said, we have no idea who's going to take those games. They're really unpredictable when it is like compared to a city finish.
Of course, as we look at the top players of that last game, Nicola for Nomad Gaming, 6 kills, Meku from Dream Eaters, 2 kills, 2 assists, Talon from Unicorn, the Law, 4 kills, and then Roge from 12181 kill. But it's that damage from those players individually that really showed up. 800 for Nicholas, 680 for Meku. Even though he only got 2 kills, that damage really showed up for him individually.
Nicola was doing so much work on the high ground on the chapel. He was just getting so much intel on the teams, trying to get a few knockdowns. He was like the one player that just allowed the push on the Harry Potter Tower of NGG. And then he got another fight on Goskiller, another fight on Kunina Power. And getting the high ground, despite the fact that he did die to the blue zone, it was a necessary endeavor because he had to get as many teams down before allowing his team to actually push out of the building. Because otherwise, once again, it is Pachinki finish. Like, you're going to have so many teams around you. Pushing in the open is never going to work out. And the fact that Nicola did sacrifice himself to allow his team to push forward is the reason why they got second place here. Low is 8 kills.
And that's the thing, like, you know me, I'd normally pick apart teams' rotations, right? I'd normally kind of go, no, this team rotated badly. That finish, those circles, no team rotated badly. Honestly, no team rotated badly. Every team rotated the best that they could. Yeah, Nomad Gaming probably rotated better than everybody in the position they were in. They reacted just that little bit better, but every single other team rotated so well. And as you see the overall standings show up, Nomad Gaming climbing up from 5th to 1st with 57.5 points, a 7-point lead ahead of Heroes X.
With 0 chicken dinners, this is what we talk about when we say consistency.
Yep.
They are absolutely an insane team. Nomad Gaming, I'm really happy to see them pull off such a great performance. Heroes X, not giving up, I just said, just 7 points difference. That's 1 game average point. So it could be shifted on the dime, of course, expecting from some of these squads. But this is a game that, like, I think that all these players are going to need a little bit of a break to recover from. So we'll go on the break shortly, but like, they are definitely going to need it. Just like, okay, let's calm down. I'm going to take a cold shower. Then we're going back to the game, okay?
Honestly, I think these teams thrived off that, right? You know, they thrived off it because you talk about classics, you talk about when you're first starting off and when you're kind of improving as a player. You know, so many players, they love the hot drop, whether it's Sanhok with Bootcamp, whether it's Vikendi with like Villa or anywhere like that, and of course Pachinki for Erangel. You know, they thrive off this kind of high pressure, high intensity situation, and it's rare they get to in some way show it off or see that in competitive play. So they will be pumped up, especially considering the kind of stop and starts we had and the craziness, you know, not the craziness but the weirdness of yesterday's games. Man, I loved it. I'm pretty sure pretty much all the players loved it. But what I like about Nomad Gaming and Heroes X is not only do they have a 2-place difference, but they also have around a 15-point gap behind the next team, which is Dream Eaters in 5th spot. So they have that higher cushion against the teams around them.
The very important, like, these city finishes is your composure. We saw, like, a lot of teams, like, Footballists, I was genuinely impressed. Even though they didn't make it very far in the game, they put off, like, what was it, 3 breaches in Pachinki?
Yeah,
it was like, and they just kept on doing really good. It was 1 breach at the end that didn't work out, but the fact that they pulled so many breaches, 2 in a row was really a good amount of success, was very, very hard. But, man, that was definitely one insane finish. First game of Wrangle. Might have another Pachinki finish later. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, like, seeing what circles you had so far. But there you have it. That's game 2 for the day being set and done. We'll have a little bit of a longer break. I think that us as casters and also the players do need a little bit of a longer break. So stick around. We'll be back shortly for the next game, which will be on the Kenby. And we are live. Thank you so much for waiting. So, unfortunately, we got a little bit of news for you guys, but before I do dive into that, I gotta say thank you so much to everyone that's been waiting. It's been a very long day yesterday and today, and it's been awesome to see you guys just watching this European regional final. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring you the action. I'm sure it's also the same for Imperium. But we do have a little bit of news that I don't think most of you guys will be happy about. So I got a little bit of a text here that I'm just going to go through to avoid missing any bit of information, just to keep you guys informed and updated on the current situation that we do have here. So there you have it. But sadly, with the internet issues that have not improved, and ESL plus Tencent that have decided that the playing field with these issues is not a fair competition, it was currently decided, unfortunately, that the European regional finals will be postponed until a better solution will be found. We'll make sure to update you guys, of course, through social media. That's going to be Twitter, Discord, all that good stuff. So you guys do go check that out also for PUBG Mobile Esports, and you'll be updated through those ways. But with that said, there you have it. We'll be, of course, ending this second day, very unfortunately. But we'll be coming back, of course, stronger and better with even more and better PUBG Mobile competitive action for this European regional finals. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Like that, you'll be notified. And we'll see you all next time for these regional finals.